Come on. They all kind of stink because their tails are coming off, so don't get too worried about it.
They'll be off in a week or two. Here, right here. See how that works?
Yeah. Hey. Come on. There.
Woody.
Thank you. They're still working on that.
August is going to be full with the fair, so.
When the 4-H'ers are gone, Donald packs up for an appointment with a neighboring rancher about 10 miles away.
You take that there. Carry that.
The Nordbys have another line of work, an artificial insemination business for cattle.
Hey.
Today, Donald, Hannah, and Tate will synchronize about 30 heifers for neighbor Ken Urlacher.
Boy, there's a nice heifer there. Oh, your heifers look good, Ken.
Probably just close that big gate there.
Yep, there you go. That's how you do it. How you doing there, bud? Let me see. All right, that's good.
A hormone implant should make them ready for pregnancy in a week or so.
Kenny, push that against her there, so.
Ultimately, they'll all bear new calves in late February.
For Sarah and Ty, it's picnic time, a rare outing for this busy family.
How hungry are you, Ty? They were thinking you could bring your fiddle along and... You think that's impressive? On the road again.
Donald will meet them at a nearby lookout to drop Hannah and Tate off and head back to Seven Hat Ranch.
So where are we going? To the top, the Rainy Butte. There's two of them. Rainy Butte. Find a spot to have a picnic, Tate. Do you like that rock up there, that big rock?
Let's go climb on it and have a picnic there.
Oh, you want to have your picnic there? That would be kind of cool. Here, everybody sit on a corner. There. All right, is anybody hungry? Or...
Let me show the secret passageway.
What was that? Do you have to play that string?
Hey, could you...
On me. Bravo, bravo.
As daylight fades, 3 bulls have managed to escape their pen. Twilight stretches out in the springtime. The Nordbys are using every minute they have to feed the hungry animals and button things up for the night.
When the Nordbys sit down for supper at 9 o'clock, a 16-hour day is drawing to a close.
One day for us, one beat in the timeless rhythm of America's heartland.
We hope you've enjoyed our visit to Seven Hat Ranch and can now better appreciate families like the Nordbys throughout the heartland working every day to provide food for our tables. I'm Paul Ryan. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on America's Heartland.
There's much more on America's Heartland at our website, including video on the stories from today's show. You can also give us your feedback. Just log on to americasheartland.org.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland. Living close to the land, there's a love for the country and a pride in the brand. In America's heartland, living close to the land.
Visit a pig farm, and you will see and smell for yourself one of a pig farmer's biggest headaches is dealing with the mess.
We generate 43 billion gallons of swine manure in the world every year.
Which is not to say all this waste has to go to waste. Civil engineer Ellie Finney sees opportunity in pig manure, like a road stretching out in front of her.
Typically you see asphalt used on the road, the black gooey, sticky things on the road. That's made from petroleum. So this material we're making is a new product made out of pig manure, which we have a lot of it in the United States.
Finney says pig waste is particularly rich in oils that are very much like petroleum. Too low grade to make gasoline, but maybe just right for where the rubber meets the road. With support from the National Science Foundation, she and a team at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University are making a sticky binder out of pig manure.
And we call it bioadhesive.
This process is only 56 cents per gallon to process. So very low cost, high impact.
Mix it with some rocks and you get asphalt. Nano-engineer Daniel Oldham says it's critical this new material is just as durable as the asphalt used on roads now. So they're putting these samples through some rigorous tests.
Imagine a car traffic driving on top of this, putting on a load. We want to know if this thing's going to fall apart when this car comes on top of it, or if it's going to be so hard that when a car goes on top, it'll actually form cracks.
It simulates the truck traffic going back and forth, like 20,000 paths. We tested, is it gonna rot too much, like sagging? We shouldn't rot, and also it shouldn't crack at low temperature.
So far, the tests have been a success. So much so that Finney and partners have set up a company called Bioadhesives Alliance.
This one actually passed DOT spec.
Down the road, they hope to see their asphalt everywhere raw materials are abundant.
In Chile, there was a hog farm that was living near a village, and they had so much manure that their manure was spilling over into the people's water supplies. So they're literally drinking the stuff and they were getting sick. China has 10 times the amount of manure we do. So I mean, if we can take that manure away, and process it and get something valuable out of it, I mean, this could really make a difference.
We think it's scalable and cost-wise is profitable. Our construction industry, both sides, we see a win-win approach in the solution.
Swine bioadhesives. Before you poo-poo this as a stinky idea, rest assured, the smelly stuff is filtered out during the processing. The farmer can even use the leftovers as fertilizer. The idea smells like a rose to me. Figuratively, anyhow. For Science Nation, I'm Miles O'Brien.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Today's episode won't cost you anything.
Freebie.
Let's see what this one is about.
Anna, I love my job.
Oh yeah? Why is that?
I get so many freebies from the bands I write about. CDs, t-shirts, water bottles, even tickets to see them perform.
Wow. The only freebie I ever got from my job was this bottle of spray cleaner.
A freebie is something that is given for free. In our example, Jonathan gets free products from the music groups he writes about. Businesses often give out freebies to advertise their products. You can use this expression in any situation where someone receives something for free. And that's English in a Minute.
Hi, I'm Sarah Gardner. When it comes to expansive dining and sometimes exotic dining, the bounty of the heartland is well represented on cruise ships like this one. We're setting sail to sample some farmland favorites afloat.
Hi, I'm Jason Schultz. Think about serving up millions of meals, dishing up dinner at 35,000 feet in the air. Coming up, I'll take you to one of America's busiest airline kitchens to see how the best of the heartland takes wing.
Hi, I'm Akiba Howard. You know, when you sit down to lunch or dinner on one of America's cross-country trains, it's a chance to sample heartland favorites in the heartland. We'll get on track for some unique meals. It's all coming up on this edition of America's Heartland.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's heartland, living close to the land.
Americans spend billions of dollars on vacations each year, and for many folks, sampling new foods or regional cuisine is a significant part of their travel experience. Travelers have a chance to sample seafood from Maine or the Pacific Northwest, bite into breads and pastries made from heartland grains, raise a glass of wine, or just enjoy an ice cream cone in their favorite flavor. And what about how you travel? Well, in that case, your choice can give you some significant options.
The popularity of cruise vacations has increased dramatically over the last 20 years. More than 10 million people a year will set sail for a holiday at sea, and many of those travelers would tell you it's the dining experience that keeps them coming back again and again.
For many people, cruising is the ultimate vacation experience. Escaping your cubicle for adventure on the high seas serves up some options you won't find on dry land. You unpack once, go to several ports of call, and you have lots of entertainment options just a few steps from your stateroom.
Cruise vacation, well, you got everything included right here on the ship. Many dining options, all types of nightclubs. We've got shows for you, usually a couple shows each day. We've got a variety of activities and events to do, and it's kind of neat because everything's literally within 5 minutes walking distance.
Since 1970, the number of vacationers taking cruise vacations has risen by close to 10% a year. A dramatic increase in the number of ships is one reason for the jump, but passengers on board the Carnival Paradise have their own ideas why cruising works for them.
Being on the water, looking at the ocean, people watching, dancing, eating, drinking.
Food is great, entertainment is great, and the lovely weather is marvelous.
This is my fourth cruise.
What keeps you coming back?
The food.
Sure, the scenery may be spectacular, but the cruise vacation destination for many folks hinges on the delightful delicacies of culinary mastery. Simply said, we like to dine.
The food is fantastic. I'm obsessed with the all-you-can-eat frozen yogurt. I've visited about 10 times a day.
But there's so many delicious things. I try to get a little bit of everything to taste it.
Just too much food, basically. And you can have almost anything you want.
Great meals have always been a draw for cruise vacationers, but these days, guests on board ships like the Carnival Paradise have a dizzying array of food choices from the heartland.
Well, many years ago, the Lido deck, which is our relaxed dining, would have been burgers, hot dogs, coleslaw, potato salad. If you go there today, you'll find a 24-hour pizzeria, a deli bar, a Mongolian station. We have a rotisserie. You know, the expectations of what we produce and what we offer our guests now are much higher than many, many years ago.
Well, change because now we are more becoming like a floating resort and less like a ship.
More than 500 crew members make up the ship's food and beverage department, the largest section on board. For the ship's passengers, that means something to sample all the time, anytime.
If you go to see the room service is open all the time, around the clock, then we have the pizzeria, which is around the clock. We have different dining rooms. We have a formal dining room where you have a regular seatings and assigned seatings. And then we have, this is the casual dining room. The breakfast is going on until 12 for the late risers. And then bistro dinner is from 6 o'clock onwards until 9:30. And then after that, the midnight buffet comes around 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Once a week, in home port, the Paradise replenishes provisions for the next sailing. It's a finely orchestrated dance, getting heartland food favorites from the port warehouses to the ship's galley.
The suppliers come on to the pier. Our store manager and the sous chef or the chef will be out on the pier checking the quality, checking the amounts that we ordered to receive correctly. It'll be brought on board, go to the storeroom facilities where we have vast expanses of refrigeration and storage.
Most of the food, fresh produce is all homegrown in America. We have cheese, as you know, from Wisconsin, potatoes from Idaho, and all the other parts of America. Most of the food is homegrown. Spray some more butter on this.
And even before the ship sets sail on the next cruise, the kitchen is working full-time.
Just mix it a bit.
That means those homegrown items from the heartland are being fashioned into meals for the ship's 2,600 guests. Ready for some numbers? 41,000 eggs, 35,000 shrimp, 55,000 hamburgers, 3,000 pizzas, 600 racks of lamb, 10,000 tomatoes, 20,000 potatoes, and more than 11,000 bananas, along with 1,000 fresh pineapples. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. 2,600 heads if you're talking lettuce.
The most important thing on a seagoing vessel is we need to see that all what is needed to be served on the menus are on board before we sail. Because just like a restaurant, we cannot go out to the supermarket and buy something. So we got to see that everything what is ordered is on board according to right quality, quantity, so that we can serve our guests. That is the most important challenge, seeing that all food is on board before we sail.
The challenges, I would say, most of the times we all are very well organized. We are organized by the restaurant side, we are organized by the chef side, where we have the all the food, the appetizers, the soup, the salads are very well made in advance, and we are ready for the show.
Tonight is formal night in the dining room, and the featured item on the menu is a cruise favorite, lobster. 360 pounds of the cherished crustacean will be prepared, plated, and served to diners.
Guys, please enjoy, huh? Bon appetit. If a guest orders a lobster, and the lobsters need to look identical. So that is part of our specification which we follow. You come after another 6 months and eat the lobster again, it will be exactly the same. Prepared, cooked and presented.
It's ready. Trying new offerings with established Heartland favorites, the food and beverage staff hopes that guests will enjoy foods they've never tasted before. In addition, they work to appeal to the taste buds of the next generation of passengers.
I love this ship.
Gonna bring them the shows and the activities and the live music and the nightclubs, that type of thing. And to see guests out there just enjoying themselves, it's really fantastic.
Family cruise vacations look to be a growth area for the cruise industry. More than 1.5 million youngsters were on cruise vacations in 2008, and cruising in general has proven to be a boon to Heartland producers providing those homegrown products from grains to vegetables, meat, poultry, and fish. The cruise industry generated spending of more than $18 billion in goods and services in 2007, with job creation and purchases in all 50 states. And if you sample passengers on their experiences, most surveys show that setting sail continues to be a favorite holiday choice. That's some very positive food for thought for those on board.
Cheers.
While we talk vacations, some people go right to the source for their food from the Heartland. A wide range of farm and ranch stay vacations give visitors a chance to do hands-on farm labor during their holidays, or just sit back and soak up the pastoral pleasures. Many states have links to farm stay vacations through their Departments of Agriculture and State Departments of Tourism.
Still ahead, dishing up dinner with some of the Heartland's best food at 35,000 feet.
I'm Akiba Howard. Still ahead, we're heading on a vacation by rail to sample some Amtrak food favorites from the Heartland.
Hi, I'm Paul Robbins, and here's something you may not have known about agriculture. Since we're talking travel, we thought we'd talk a little bit about those settlers that were moving west to open new farmlands as the country expanded. No holidays here, and getting there was not half the fun.
That's because crossing the country meant bringing everything with you. Farm equipment, farm animals, seeds for planting, and tools to cut into the soil. And since there were no fast food joints along the way, you were limited in what you could eat. The average covered wagon carried bacon for fats and meat, dried jerky, flour, of course, and dried beans for making main meals and soup, assuming you had enough water.
We should mention that no one was going anywhere fast. Your day started before dawn, you loaded up the wagon, you hitched up the horses, and you roared off to cover maybe 10 to 15 miles a day, even less on rainy days. Let's put it in perspective. Those folks took 5 to 7 days to travel distances that today our cars cover in about an hour.
When commercial airline service first took off in the 1930s, meal options were pretty bare bones. We're talking about a sandwich and maybe a cup of hot coffee. But that expanded throughout the century, and of course recently domestic flights have seen a reduction in the amount of meal service. You have to fly on some far-flung flights to international destinations to really experience the Heartland's best fare.
The takeoff on any vacation or business trip gives travelers an opportunity to share in new experiences. One of those is food. And with new offerings of in-flight meals, you can start enjoying that opportunity even before you reach your destination. But providing the Heartland's best to airline passengers begins well before the plane pulls up to your departure gate.
We follow specifications very closely. We want to make sure that we meet the requirements and the expectations of the customer. We assign specific employees to help us produce the different types of cuisines that we have here. A very talented group of people here.
Sydney Ho is a manager with Gate Gourmet, a culinary catering operation that serves some 3 dozen airports all across the United States, as well as kitchen operations overseas.
For years people joked about airline food, right? Oh, airline food. But Do you feel like, I mean, when I look at this stuff here, it looks pretty good.
We pay close attention to quality. Quality is very important, and from the time that we receive products, there are critical control points throughout the process that we follow closely. We monitor temperatures, we monitor the quality of food.
Think about the challenges of producing large numbers of meals attractive to both the eye and the palate. First of all, you need detailed organization. Food that is prepped, fully cooked, quickly cooled, transported to the runway, and loaded on board. And depending on your destination, special menus demand special attention. Asian favorites, regional European cuisine, appetizers, and desserts. And if you think it's all done in large quantities, think again.
Here you are preparing it in a frying pan, right?
Yes, we're going to make it fresh.
You want to make it fresh so it goes, and then where does it go from here?
After we cook, we check the temperature, make sure it's all the way cooked. So it's got to reach over 165 and make sure very well done cooked. And then we take out and put a black chiller and cool down in the 4 hours down to below 40.
Looks like it's about done to me.
Yes, sir.
The competitive marketplace in airline travel means that carriers have to produce passenger amenities that bring people on board. Food is a universal attraction, and freshness is critical.
How important is it as a chef to have fresh items instead of frozen?
It's the key, especially coming from the kitchen to have it plated on the plane. Everything is being color-coded, and within 24 hours we're using dry ice to keep it nice and crisp and fresh, and the freshness is key.
Heartland Harvest gives chefs the ingredients to turn out millions of meals each year. Beef and seafood from the open range and ocean, dairy products from the Midwest, peaches from the South, and here at their San Francisco facility, produce that comes from farms just a short drive away.
We have a great market here, Salinas down the street. We have Gilroy here in California. Again, everything fresh. We got a
citrus,
those are
California citrus right here.
That's right.
I believe the menus that are planned out are better menus. Most of the airlines are looking at healthier alternatives for their passengers. So we see a big improvement in that.
The advantage of working with the airline industry gives you access to heartland foodstuffs that can be flown in from across the country.
It's not every day you see lobster on an airline flight.
Right. This is a rock lobster. We use also Maine lobster, different airlines again.
That's for your first class passenger.
That's correct. About like a month ago, we actually did a very important charter for the president of Taiwan, and they all wanted fresh lobster in the entire flight.
And while all of this is headed for passengers on flights, around the world we should note that crew members have special arrangements when it comes to the food that they'll eat on board.
Also an interesting fact, for example, the pilots, they cannot have seafood, and also if they have two pilots, they have different meals. Just, so if something happened.
Given the global marketplace in travel today, special menus from Heartland Harvest must be tailored as well to special dietary needs. That can mean anything from meatless meals to religious considerations.
We have a lot of special meals, kosher meals, child meals, Muslim, Hindu, gluten-free.
So you have to keep track of all those things.
We have low fat, low salt, all those. We have a separate station for that. Actually, on a daily basis, I actually sign off like a gluten-free. I personally check the meals before they get out the door.
You personally check the gluten-free meals before they go out the door?
And then I sign off on those, yep.
And that's because it's such a significant health issue for folks, right?
It's or allergies, for example, peanuts. Like a lot of airlines are peanut-free.
As with any business, meeting those demands means setting up systems to deliver meals in a timely and efficient manner.
We have, of course, many different stations in our kitchen. It's a large facility. We have a marinade station as well.
After the preparation, packing and up for delivery to dozens of planes on the concourse. And as you might expect, airlines compete for culinary honors. Celebrity chefs bring award-winning talents to the kitchen competition.
Tell me about the awards you've won.
Oh, I'm working a gold medal in the Asian last year. Yes, I'm working in this company 27 years.
27 years, wow.
Yes, yeah, that should be done.
That looks done to me. Very good.
Specific meals for specific destinations. First class and main cabin meals, appetizers, desserts, and snacks. Using the Heartland's finest ingredients is all part of an effort to reinvent fine dining in the sky. Or to put it another way, bon appetit at 30,000 feet.
I think it's the passion that the chefs have to want to produce a product, a good product. It's the challenge of producing high volume products and having quality built into it. I think the chefs here do have a passion and they do have that culinary flair to want to do a good product for the passengers.
Food and fun were the focus for ancient Romans on vacation. The power elite of the Roman Empire often took their holidays along the Bay of Naples. Fishermen served up delicacies from the ocean, and wine from the Roman vineyards completed their heartland harvest menus. That is, until Mount Vesuvius erupted, covering the region with ash and lava in 79 AD.
All aboard!
When you think about it, travel by train really kicked off the American vacation experience. In the 19th century, travelers stopped for meals at stations along the way. And later, onboard kitchens supplied gourmet offerings. Well, today, Amtrak is keeping that tradition alive with some unique meals on some special trains. These are the familiar sights and sounds of train travel. The power and energy of the huge engines, the beehive of passenger activity at the station, the all aboard and sheer anticipation of the coming adventure, riding the rails. But this is the part most train travelers never see. The sun's barely up and already dozens of Amtrak employees have been working for hours loading these trains with everything from vegetables to juices, dinner items to dessert. Each year, Amtrak buys close to $50 million worth of food and beverage products to satisfy its 28 million passengers.
When that train is stocked in the morning, we load over 45,000 individual food and beverage items on board that train.
Amtrak's Thomas Hall says trucks deliver those food supplies from farms and factories to 13 different warehouses in major American cities, like this one in Los Angeles. From the warehouse, it's loaded on dining cars. More than 300 Amtrak trains depart from stations across the U.S. each day, carrying close to 80,000 passengers. A lot of hungry riders.
For instance, we buy over 200,000 gallons of fruit juice a year, 120,000 quarts of milk, over 800,000 hamburgers a year, 300,000 chickens.
Not to mention 300,000 steaks, 660,000 hot dogs, 500,000 tomatoes, and about 200,000 freshly made salads.
Well, I think what Amtrak does best is to provide American comfort food Amtrak style.
Daniel Malzahn, Amtrak's executive chef, says there's a new effort underway to select only the freshest, best quality food products. And for Amtrak, that usually means buying American.
I think America produces certainly some of the absolute best food in the world. There's no question about that. Great food can only spring from great ingredients.
It supports the American economy. It also gives us the freshest products available, and I think it also gives us the highest quality products available for our customers on board the train.
We do design and tailor the food to specific routes, and we have some very vibrant partners that we work with in that process.
I'd like the Angus steak burger, please.
Those partners may include Colorado cattle ranchers, Michigan cucumber growers, crab cakes from Maine fishermen. On this Coast Starlight route from Los Angeles to Seattle, passengers may dine on Washington State salmon, Oregon and California cheeses, and lettuce and tomatoes grown in fields right outside their window.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised with the quality. When we took the airplane, it was like you didn't get anything but this little package of trail mix, but this is fantastic.
David and Patricia Englehart are regular Amtrak riders. The Delaware couple is celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary by enjoying Amtrak's restored parlor car with its 5-star restaurant atmosphere.
Quality-wise, just as good and faster.
When they walk through the dining car and they smell breakfast in the morning, or in the afternoon they smell the fresh roasted chickens in the ovens down below, it really gives a sense that they're at a fine dining establishment.
And the Chardonnay sounds good. That chicken special sounds really good.
To please all these particular passengers, it's a balancing act, literally. Preparing gourmet meals in a tiny galley on a moving train. Hundreds of meals, 3 times a day. Little wonder folks are surprised at how tasty it all turns out.
In the food business, going back to the beginning, it's all about the product. And the American farmer is responsible for bringing us those great selections.
That's going to do it for this time. Thanks for traveling with us on this special edition of America's Heartland.
We're always pleased that you can join us, and remember there is much more on our website, including video streaming from today's show. Just go to americasheartland.org, and we'll see you next time right here in America's Heartland.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's heartland, living close to the land.
Since we've started City of Asylum Pittsburgh, I've seen how freedom of expression can inspire many people in a way that I didn't imagine was possible. The United States is a country where First Amendment rights and the idea to speak your mind is just so deeply ingrained that I think that is fundamental, and everybody feels that as a sense of entitlement. City of Asylum Pittsburgh began to provide sanctuary to a writer exiled under threat of persecution. The writer could be endangered with prison, violence, or censored in a way that you can't publish freely. Our goal is to provide a place to live, a living income, and medical benefits. We feel it's extremely important that the writer maintain the identity of being a writer, and the only way to do that in exile is to be published in the country you're in. The City of Asylum is most populated in Europe. There are, however, really developing cities around the world now. Mexico City for many years has had a very strong program and I think supports 2 writers there currently. Brazil is about to have a City of Asylum, and there's a movement by this international organization to begin to internationalize it more outside of Europe. In the United States, there are 2 other cities of asylum, both university affiliated, one at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Ootisimka, the writer who was instrumental in founding the whole movement worldwide, was in exile and in the faculty there for a good deal. And the other program is a consortium of universities in Ithaca, so he himself was instrumental in getting these other 2 programs. We have 4 houses with writing on the outside in various languages that were inspired by the original writer in our program, Wang Zhang. Wang Zhang was from China, and when he came here, he wanted to celebrate his freedom. He had never been allowed to express himself. He'd been tortured where his mouth had been beaten in, so he couldn't even recite his poetry publicly, or they tried to prevent it in China. As more writers came to our program and we began to provide more houses for them, we used that idea of publishing a book in our midst, living monuments, who represent what it's like to lose that.
This is Border Crossings. My name is Larry London, and I'll be your host for today's show as we welcome a music star from the 1980s, whose hits include Every Time I Think of You, Change, Back on My Feet Again, and of course, the #1 song, Missing You. John Waite's name might not be easily recognizable, but his smash hits and his unique vocal styling certainly are. From his days with Bad English and the Babies to his own solo recordings, John Waite has toured with Ringo Starr and many other music giants. John's music has topped the U.S. and U.K. charts, and he's on tour today, and he joins us for a live performance and interview. Stay tuned for John Waite on today's Border Crossings.
I put my heart on hold.
Hi, this is Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings, and what a great show we've got for you today. I'm very excited myself because I'm a fan of this man and his music over the years, going back as far as the 70s. And we welcome to D.C. and to Border Crossings and to the worldwide VOA audience, John Waite. Welcome to our studios.
Oh, it's great to be here, Larry. Thanks.
It's a pleasure to meet you in person. I have been playing your songs with the Babies and with Bad English for many, many years. And
so have I.
So have you. Probably many more times, I'm sure, than I have. But I love the songs. I love your music.
Thanks.
I love your sound and everything that you've been putting out. And are you on tour now for a new album?
There's a greatest hits called Best. And there's like 12 songs that span the whole career. That's just come out, that's in the shops. And we got one called Wooden Heart Volume 2, which is like a retrospective. It's an acoustic anthology. And Missing You's on there, Isn't It Time, some of the really big songs, and then some of the obscure songs from past albums that are acoustic. It's an amalgam of like new cuts and old cuts. But it's a beautiful record. It came out of nowhere. It only took a day and a half to record the 6 songs that are on the 12 tracks. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just going in there to cut 4 tracks for an EP, because the Volume 1 was an EP. And it became 6 tracks, and then I just added these other tracks in, and it was this album. But it's like, it's Spartan, it's stripped down. Sometimes it's just me and one guitar. A lot of it is just me and one guitar. But it's got something that I didn't expect it to have, and it's really kind of an experience listening to it. It really surprises me. It happens so fast.
What's the vibe on the new album? I know you've kind of evolved over your career, and for a while it was rock, and then you did a little bluegrass, and you worked with Alison Krauss. So, you know, where's the new sound for these days?
Well, no, I started off on the acoustic. You know, I really did. My cousin Michael Deegan, he's with the Temperance 7, which is a trad jazz band in England that were big in the 50s and stuff, but he's the banjo player. And when I was a kid, he was a painter who went to art school, but he'd play me Jimmy Rogers songs and Hank Williams and Big Bill Broonzy, and it all came from this national big acoustic guitar with a resonator, and then he would play like acoustic. But I grew up listening to that before I heard rock and roll. So when I look back to the key things that motivate me musically, it's always on the acoustic guitar. Even as far back as the Babies, the best songs were all written on the acoustic. And left to my own devices, I would play like country or folk or Celtic music or blues. But country blues, not so much electric blues like Chicago blues, it'd be Delta, you know? So it all comes from this. And as I got older, especially when I got out of Bad English, when that broke up, I went straight back to the acoustic. It was so natural. I was living in New York City, and the reason for playing the acoustic at that point, other than just I loved it, was that you couldn't make a lot of racket at 2 in the morning. You know, people would knock on the doors and you'd get evicted, you know, so I had the acoustic with me all the time. But it spoke to me, and it always has. And so at this point in my life, when I don't need to sort of do anything other than what I want to do, you know, this is what I'm doing now. It's just gone back to what I loved as a kid.
What's the name of the new album?
It's called Acoustic Anthology, Wooden Heart Volume 2.
Excellent. Well, and that leads me to believe there's going to be Volume 3.
3, yeah.
4,
No,
5.
I mean, I'm already thinking about that. We got some downtime in November and December. And there's so many songs, you know. I mean, I've got some of the songs that I want to recut from the Babies, like You. There's songs that are just beautiful songs I'd like to sort of update and just bring out without any orchestration or, like, backbeat. Just the acoustic, it speaks so truly, you know. I want to get back to that. And there's new songs I've written And all of the new songs are like on the acoustic, but they're kind of rock songs. It's not like I'm country, but I'm influenced by country. The intention of country is like storytelling, and I've always had that. I've always been able to like tell a story in a song, and I didn't realize till recently that's where it came from. It's really an honest acquisition, you know. It's like something that happened to me as a kid. Cowboy songs, you know, Marty Robbins. They're all story songs, you know.
Right.
So the natural thing for me to do is tell stories. But it works on the acoustic, not so much on the electric.
Yeah, there's not many storytelling guitar-based bands these days. I mean, you know, you have an artist like Ed Sheeran, for example.
Yeah.
He tells stories, plays the guitar. So it's
you get
great.
it in country. You get it in country and you get it in bluegrass. But in rock's something else.
Yes.
Rock, unless you like Bob Seger, who can like... and obviously Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
There are people that really
Bob
own
Dylan,
that.
the legends,
Bob Dylan, you know, I mean, Dylan's like you know, he's Dylan. There's only one Dylan, and he's the boss.
We've got John Waite in our studios on tour for album 11. And
is it?
I guess you're not counting anymore.
No, I was. I thought it was more like 20, actually.
It feels like it, huh?
No, it's 20. Oh, wow, the solo records, it's 11. But if you put Bad English in there and the
That's
Babies,
true. It's
it gets to
probably
like 20 or 21.
Yeah, and
It's
40
insane.
years, right? 40
yeah,
plus
more
years.
than 40 years. I think somebody's trying to make me look good, but I said it's 40 years. It's more like 43 or something, you know?
Well, you look great.
Oh, thank you.
And introduce the guys in the band. Before.
On the stool.
In the stool?
Yeah, we couldn't bring a drum kit. They couldn't fit it in. So we got him on a stool. This is Rondo, Michael Rondo Gillum. He's from New Jersey, and he's been with us for about 10 years. And here we have the man himself, the man in black. This on bass guitar from Philadelphia. We have Tim Hogan. And Mark Ricciardi, also the man in black, on the Martin D28. He's from Staten Island. So... it's an East Coast band, really. And with my sort of New York history, kind of like it jives, you know, we all sort of get on.
Now, what are you going to play for us first?
What would you like?
Anything you want to play.
Okay, we can play When I See You Smile. Sometimes I wonder how I'd ever make it through this world without having you. I just wouldn't have a clue. 'Cause sometimes it seems like this world is closing on me. There's no way of breaking free. Then I see you reach for me. Sometimes I want to give up and give in. After everything is said and done, baby, you're my reason for living, yeah. When I see you smile, I can do anything, yeah. When I see you smile, oh yeah, baby. Oh, I can do anything, yeah. When I see you smile, baby, baby, when I see you smile at me. Baby, there's nothing in this world that could ever do what the touch of your hand can do. It's like nothing that I ever knew before. And when the rain is falling, I don't feel me. Oh yeah, every day of my life. All right, smile at me, yeah.
Wow. Huge hit. John Waite. Great song. 1989, you co-wrote that with Diane Warren?
Yeah, no, Diane Warren wrote that.
She wrote the song?
Yeah, yeah. Old friend of mine from way back.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where were you when you heard your song on the radio for the first time? You remember?
Me, I was on PCH with the babies. The top was down. We were going off to see Ronnie Wood from the Stones at Malibu Colony. And a mutual friend was going to take us over there to say hi. And we're driving up the PCH with the Pacific on the left and California on the right, and just blazing up PCH. It was an incredible thing, you know. I mean, it's like, I guess you think you've arrived when you hear your song on the radio. I mean, it's the first time.
Did you have to pull over to the side of the road?
No. We just sort of sat there and listened. I think when you hear it for the first time, nobody speaks. When the babies first came to America, we came down Sunset Boulevard, and there was a gigantic billboard over, just by Tower Records, not over Tower Records, but seeing a billboard with your name on it, that's something else. That's the same thing for me. It was the same memories that I have of LA and being in the babies, being a kid and being that successful. It was, it has a lot of impact. You know, you remember that, like a picture book, you know.
There's a big risk when you are in a big band like the Babies, and then you make a change to another band with a totally different name. And so what precipitated that? What caused you guys
Well, no, the Babies just broke up after 7 years. We'd really run our course. That was the end of it, really. I went back to England, got married. I kind of quit. And it was enough for me. I thought, well, I've made 5 records, and I've had a good time, and I'm, you know, I'm not even 30. It's kind of like it's a great time to say goodbye. And I don't know whether they felt the same way, but I'd definitely given it everything I could. I went back to England, bought a small cottage in the country, got married, settled down. And then I started to miss New York, which was kind of weird because I'm living in the countryside. You know, it's like, you know, all creatures great and small. You know, it really was. It was the Lake District and small, beautiful little village in Sedbergh, near Kendal. And 2 lawyers got me out of a record deal. And I went to LA to meet EMI, and they signed me to this really good deal. And I didn't go home for about 3 months. It was like one of those things. I started to write the record, and it happened. It happened so quick. I'd had such a lot of time off that by the time I hit the ground again, I was not just running, I was racing. You know, I was really understood what I wanted to do, and I was no longer with this other record company, and the new record company actually liked what I was doing, you know. So, and man, it happened so quickly, you know. And instead of just doing like some work, meeting a few guitar players, signing the deal and going home, I had to stay in America and finish it, which leads us into missing you, because at the 11th hour, we were mixing the record. They had this great band, Donny Nosov on bass, Gary Myrick on guitar, and Curly Smith on drums. It was a tragically great band. And we'd blazed through this record, written a lot of stuff together, but I knew we hadn't got a big single. I just knew it, and there was something missing. It's like making a jigsaw puzzle, and there's a piece missing, and everybody's looking at the jigsaw going, yeah, it's great, isn't it? You're going, yeah, but there's a piece missing, and nobody got it. And I was going away while David Thorner was mixing. And I was trying to write something else, and I didn't even know what. And a friend of mine had this backing tape. We were working on this song in his studio, and I'm in the bedroom singing on this mic, and he's got a studio in his living room. And we were trying to find this tape we'd been working on for this song. We couldn't find it. It kept stopping the tape machine. And he hit the button at the wrong time, and this backing track came up. And I said, what's that? He said, oh, I'm just, you know, it's nothing. I just did it last night. And it was like, boom, dun, 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 dun. And I thought, no, that's right up my street, that. What do you got? So he put that up on the headphones and the mic. And I went back in the bedroom microphone situation and sang the first verse chorus of Missing You without missing a beat. And that's what I was saying about, like, knowing there's a piece missing. Your subconscious is working overtime. I haven't been back to New York. I haven't been home to see my wife. And I'm really kind of feeling it. And Missing You came out, you know, and on that microphone, in that moment, after the first chorus, I choked. You know, it's like everything I've been walking towards in my life happened in that moment. And I knew that it was number one, and I knew my life would never be the same again. And that's, you know, true story.
Can you do Missing You? Would you do this? Great.
We can.
This is the song that knocked What's Love Got to Do with It?
Yeah,
Tina Turner, right off the chart.
Turner,
knocked her right off the
my
throne.
heroine. I just, you know, it was, and I got to meet her the week before.
Oh boy!
At a party, and I leant over and I said, "You know, I'm number one next week."
That's right.
You know, what a way to say hello to Tina. You know, but she was very gracious. You know.
Wow, fantastic. Missing You, John Waite.
Every time I think of you, I always catch my breath, and I'm still standing here, and you're miles away, and I'm wondering why you left. And there's a storm that's raging through my frozen heart tonight. I hear your name in certain circles, and it always makes me smile. I spend my time thinking about you, and it's almost driving me wild. And it's my heart that's breaking down this long distance line tonight. I ain't missing you at all since you've been gone away. I ain't missing you at all. No matter what my friends might say, there's a message in the wire, and I'm sending you the signal tonight. You don't know how desperate I've become, and it looks like I'm losing this fight. In your world, I have no meaning, though I'm trying hard to understand. And it's my heart that's breaking down this long distance line tonight. I ain't missing you at all. Missing you since you've been gone, missing away. I ain't missing you at all. Missing you. No matter what my heart might say. There's a message that I'm sending out, like a telegraph to your soul. And if I can't bridge this distance, stop this heartbreak on below, I ain't missing you at all. Since you've been gone away, I ain't missing you at all. No matter what my heart might say, I ain't missing you at all. I can lie to myself these days. I ain't missing you. I ain't missing you. I ain't missing you at all. I can lie to myself these days. I ain't missing you.
존경하는 미 합중국 다널드 트럼프 대통령 내외분과 방문단 여러분, 외교 사절을 비롯한 내외 귀빈과 국회의원 여러분, 대한민국 국회의장으로서 국민을 대표하여 다널드 트럼프 대통령님과 영부인 멜라니아 트럼프 여사님의 국회 방문을 진심으로 환영합니다. 트럼프 대통령 내외분께서는 대한민국의 영원한 동맹국이자 위대한 나라 미 합중국을 대표하여 25년 만에 국빈 자격으로 방한하였습니다. 그리고 미 합중국 대통령으로서는 24년 만에 국회에서 연설을 하게 되었습니다. 취임 첫 해 첫 번째 아시아 순방에서 대한민국 국회를 찾아주신 것을 무한한 기쁨으로 생각합니다. 오늘 트럼프 대통령 내외분께서 이 자리에 함께하신 것만으로도 한미동맹의 굳건함과 각별함을 다시 한번 각인시켜주는 것이라 생각합니다. 존경하는 트럼프 대통령 내외분과 내외 귀빈 여러분, 의원 여러분, 원조를 받는 나라에서 원조를 주는 나라로 성장한 대한민국의 놀라운 발전은 양 국민의 피와 강고한 한미동맹의 기반 위에서 일궈낸 빛나는 성과입니다. 안보동맹으로 시작한 한미동맹은 이제 경제동맹을 넘어 글로벌 가치동맹으로 발전해 나가고 있습니다. 무엇보다 한반도와 동북아 평화 유지에 절대적 기여를 해왔다고 평가받는 한미동맹은 지금 북한의 핵과 미사일이라고 하는 엄중한 도전에 직면해 있습니다. 그간 한미 양국은 북한 핵 위협을 억제하고 한반도 비핵화의 평화적 달성을 위해 함께 달려왔습니다. 특히 대통령 취임사에서 행동할 시간이 도래했다고 강조하신 트럼프 대통령께서는 역대 그 어떤 미 합중국 대통령보다 북한 핵 문제를 최우선적으로 해결하려는 의지와 노력을 행동으로 보여주고 계십니다. 이 자리를 통해 훌륭한 리더십과 협상력으로 탁월한 평화의 중재자 역할을 하고 계신 트럼프 대통령께 감사와 경의를 표합니다. 아울러 이번 트럼프 대통령 내외분의 방안이 양국 간 우위와 공동 번영의 새로운 머릿돌이자 한반도와 동북아 평화 구현의 역사적 계기가 되기를 진심으로 기원합니다. 트럼프 대통령님의 연설에 앞서 아름다움과 지혜를 겸비하신 멜라니아 트럼프 여사님을 소개하고자 합니다. 여사님, 잠시 일어나셔서 우리의 따뜻한 환영을 받아주시면 감사하겠습니다. 여러분, 이제
Let me introduce you to the leader of the world, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Assembly Speaker Chung, distinguished members of this Assembly, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the extraordinary privilege to speak in this great chamber and to address your people on behalf of the people of the United States of America. In our short time in your country, Melania and I have been awed by its ancient, modern wonders, and we are deeply moved by the warmth of your welcome. Last night, President and Mrs. Moon showed us incredible hospitality in a beautiful reception at the Blue House. We had productive discussions on increasing military cooperation and improving the trade relationship between our nations on the principle of fairness and reciprocity. Through this entire visit, it has been both our pleasure and our honor to create and celebrate a long friendship between the United States and the Republic of Korea. This alliance between our nations was forged in the crucible of war and strengthened by the trials of history. From the Incheon landings to Pork Chop Hill, American and South Korean soldiers have fought together, sacrificed together, and triumphed together. Almost 67 years ago, in the spring of 1951, they recaptured what remained of this city where we are gathered so proudly today. It was the second time in a year that our combined forces took on steep casualties to retake this capital from the communists. Over the next weeks and months, the men soldiered through steep mountains and bloody, bloody battles. Driven back at times, they will their way north to form the line that today divides the oppressed and the free. And there, American and South Korean troops have remained together holding that line for nearly 7 decades. By the time the armistice was signed in 1953, more than 36,000 Americans had died in the Korean War, with more than 100,000 others very badly wounded. They are heroes, and we honor them. We also honor and remember the terrible price the people of your country paid for their freedom. You lost hundreds of thousands of brave soldiers and countless innocent civilians in that gruesome war. Much of this great city of Seoul was reduced to rubble. Large portions of the country were scarred, severely, severely hurt by this horrible war. The economy of this nation was demolished. But as the entire world knows, over the next 2 generations, something miraculous happened on the southern half of this peninsula. Family by family, city by city, the people of South Korea built this country into what is today one of the great nations of the world, and I congratulate you. In less than 1 lifetime, South Korea climbed from total devastation to among the wealthiest nations on earth. Today, your economy is more than 350 times larger than what it was in 1960. Trade has increased 1,900 times. Life expectancy has risen from just 53 years to more than 82 years today. Like Korea, and since my election exactly 1 year ago today, I celebrate with you. The United States is going through something of a miracle itself. Our stock market is at an all-time high. Unemployment is at a 17-year low. We are defeating ISIS. We are strengthening our judiciary, including a brilliant Supreme Court justice, and on and on and on. Currently stationed in the vicinity of this peninsula are the 3 largest aircraft carriers in the world, loaded to the maximum with magnificent F-35 and F-18 fighter jets. In addition, we have nuclear submarines appropriately positioned. The United States, under my administration, is completely rebuilding its military and is spending hundreds of billions of dollars to the newest and finest military equipment anywhere in the world being built right now. I want peace through strength. We are helping the Republic of Korea far beyond what any other country has ever done. And in the end, we will work things out far better than anybody understands or can even appreciate. I know that the Republic of Korea, which has become a tremendously successful nation, will be a faithful ally of the United States very long into the future. What you have built is truly an inspiration. Your economic transformation was linked to a political one. The proud, sovereign, and independent people of your nation demanded the right to govern themselves. You secured free parliamentary elections in 1988, the same year you hosted your first Olympics. Soon after, you elected your first civilian president in more than 3 decades. And when the republic you won faced financial crisis, you lined up by the millions to give your most prized possessions, your wedding rings, heirlooms, and gold luck keys, to restore the promise of a better future for your children. Your wealth is measured in more than money. It is measured in achievements of the mind and achievements of spirit. Over the last several decades, your scientists have engineered so many magnificent things. You've pushed the boundaries of technology, pioneered miraculous medical treatments, and emerged as leaders in unlocking the mysteries of our universe. Korean authors penned roughly 40,000 books this year. Korean musicians fill concert halls all around the world. Young Korean students graduate from college at the highest rates of any country. And Korean golfers are some of the best on earth. In fact, and you know what I'm going to say, the Women's U.S. Open was held this year at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey, and it just happened to be won by a great Korean golfer, Sung Hyun Park, and 8 of the top 10 players were from Korea. And the top 4 golfers, 1, 2, 3, 4, the top 4 were from Korea. Congratulations. Congratulations. And that's something. That is really something. Here in Seoul, architectural wonders like the 63 building and the Lotte World Tower, very beautiful, grace the sky and house the workers of many growing industries. Your citizens now help to feed the hungry, fight terrorism, and solve problems all over the world. And in a few months, you will host the world, and you will do a magnificent job at the 23rd Olympic Winter Games. Good luck. The Korean miracle extends exactly as far as the armies of free nations advanced in 1953, 25 miles to the north. There it stops. It all comes to an end. Dead stop. The flourishing ends and the prison state of North Korea sadly begins. Workers in North Korea labor grueling hours in unbearable conditions for almost no pay. Recently, the entire working population was ordered to work for 70 days straight, or else pay for a day of rest. Families live in homes without plumbing, and fewer than half have electricity. Parents bribe teachers in hopes of saving their sons and daughters from forced labor. More than 1 million North Koreans died of famine in the 1990s, and more continue to die of hunger today. Among children under the age of 5, nearly 30% of afflicted and are afflicted by stunted growth due to malnutrition. And yet, in 2012 and 2013, the regime spent an estimated $200 million, or almost half the money that it allocated to improve living standards for its people, to instead build even more monuments, towers, and statues to glorify its dictators. What remains of the meager harvest of the North Korean economy is distributed according to perceived loyalty to a twisted regime. Far from valuing its people as equal citizens, this cruel dictatorship measures them, scores them, and ranks them based on the most arbitrary indications of their allegiance to the state. Those who score the highest in loyalty may live in the capital city. Those who score the lowest starve. A small infraction by one citizen, such as accidentally staining a picture of the tyrant printed in a discarded newspaper, can wreck the social credit rank of his entire family for many decades. An estimated 100,000 North Koreans suffer in gulags, toiling in forced labor, and enduring torture, starvation, rape, and murder on a constant basis. In one known instance, a 9-year-old boy was imprisoned for 10 years because his grandfather was accused of treason. In another, a student was beaten in school for forgetting a single detail about the life of Kim Jong-un. Soldiers have kidnapped foreigners and forced them to work as language tutors for North Korean spies. In the part of Korea that was a stronghold for Christianity before the war, Christians and other people of faith who were found praying or holding a religious book of any kind are now detained, tortured, and in many cases, even executed. North Korean women are forced to abort babies that are considered ethnically inferior. And if these babies are born, the newborns are murdered. One woman's baby, born to a Chinese father, was taken away in a bucket. The guard said it did not deserve to live because it was impure. So why would China feel an obligation to help North Korea? The horror of life in North Korea is so complete that citizens pay bribes to government officials to have themselves exported aboard as slaves. They would rather be slaves than live in North Korea. To attempt to flee is a crime punishable by death. One person who escaped remarked, "When I think about it now, I was not a human being. I was more like an animal. Only after leaving North Korea did I realize what life was supposed to be." And so, on this peninsula, we have watched the results of a tragic experiment in a laboratory of history. It is a tale of one people, but two Koreas. One Korea in which the people took control of their lives and their country and chose a future of freedom and justice, of civilization and incredible achievement. And another Korea in which leaders imprisoned their people under the banner of tyranny, fascism, and oppression. The result of this experiment are in, and they are totally conclusive. When the Korean War began in 1950, the two Koreas were approximately equal in GDP per capita. But by the 1990s, South Korea's wealth had surpassed North Korea's by more than 10 times. And today, the South's economy is over 40 times larger. So you started the same a short while ago, and now you're 40 times larger. You're doing something right. Considering the misery wrought by the North Korean dictatorship, it is no surprise that it has been forced to take increasingly desperate measures to prevent its people from understanding this brutal contrast. Because the regime fears the truth above all else, it forbids virtually all contact with the outside world. Not just my speech today, but even the most commonplace facts of South Korean life are forbidden knowledge to the North Korean people. Western and South Korean music is banned. Possession of foreign media is a crime, punishable by death. Citizens spy on fellow citizens. Their homes are subject to search at any time, and their every action is subject. The people of North Korea are bombarded by state propaganda practically every waking hour of the day. North Korea is a country ruled as a cult. At the center of this military cult is a city to rule as parent protector over a conquered Korean peninsula and an enslaved Korean people. The more successful South Korea becomes, the more decisively you discredit the dark fantasy at the heart of the very existence of a thriving South Korean republic threatens the very survival of the North Korean dictatorship. This city and this assembly are living proof that a free and independent, but does stand strong, sovereign, and proud among the nations of the world. Here, the strength of the nation does not come from the false glory of it. This republic, the people have done what no dictator ever could. You took, with the help of the United States, responsibility for yourselves and ownership of your future. You had a dream, a Korean dream, and you built that dream into a great reality.